So I bought this phone off of Wish. This is what they would call a Mate 33 Pro, even though it's just a knockoff. Oh, i11 Pro 5G. They called this one a Mate 33 Pro. I wonder if this really does have 5G. It's 8 gigs and 512 gigs of storage in gold with the EU power brick. Now when you open this up, you're greeted with this phone. And then what else comes in the box is headphones. I'm actually want to try those out. Power brick and a standard one amp wall brick with a micro USB charger. That's it. No. Oh, and then there's a case, which coming from these, you spend barely anything and you can get that real easily. There is this just a matte finish one front? I think it's just a power or a screen protector for it. And then there's this thing. Let's plug that to the side and we'll take a look at the device some more. So I know this is plastic, but it feels like it has a glass back to it. There are 3 cameras, which I'm assuming 2 of them are false, which is what it actually looks like here. So there, as you can see, this one's real, the other 2 are false. We'll get into that more. There's flash. There is the micro USB port with a microphone and speaker port grill on it. Actually, that's the microphone. This is just a speaker. I think that's what it is. And you have like a look at this in depth a little more on here. There's a 6.1 inch display over here. That is 6.1 inch display with full HD, volume up and down, power not textured, a headphone jack up top here, which is something nice to see. And then there's this on the side, which then reveals the plastic backing, of course. Dual SIM over here, so you get your dual SIM card support, and then you get an SD card slot and a removable battery, which is 4000 mAh. No wireless charging. Not even sure what half this one is. It could be for the vibration motor here, and that's it. There's the small little speaker. There is some holes. I believe that may be for the speaker or the microphone. No, this is, I believe, I'm not even sure. I have to test that part out. But you put this back on, and let's see how it will power on. So it already comes with a screen protector pre-installed on this device here. So turn it on. And you're greeted with, I wouldn't call this bright. Can I just make one little thing to these companies? Learn to put on the screen protector correctly, because there are bubbles. There you go, that's where you see the bubbles. There are some bubbles, and there's some bubbles like in the screen itself that aren't right here and stuff, like just a little bit of a thing. It says welcome, and the specifications of this phone is, it says 4G, 5G, but I'm not even in an area where I can get 5G. This is supposed copying an iPhone. Okay, now it has that DuraSpeed mode. Has a 13 megapixel front camera and 18 rear. And it's already set up for me. It's copying that iPhone look, of course. Oh my god. That lag. This is already set up. It's running, according to this, Android 10. I'm not too sure about that. I don't really trust it. It looks like it really may be 512 gigs. There's just a lot of things, so I'll get back when I've used this phone for a tiny bit and we'll figure out what is up with this phone. So let's just get on with the interface style that this thing has. The style of interface is an iPhone interface, and the thing just locked itself on me. It has face unlock, which is pretty horrible because it uses that camera up top, which we'll talk about these cameras in a minute. It has an FM radio, you plug in headphones, and it does its FM radio stuff.
It has a camera, a video player. It has a sound recorder. It has a file manager, which is like an Android whatever file manager. To-do list, calendar, music player, which is Android 6, or even, it's like an, is this one? This one may be from, I believe it's Android 4 or something like that, I think is where this one came from. Has the Photos app, Mail, which is its own mail client, not even, it doesn't even have it has WhatsApp built in. It has the clock, which is Android clock, of course. It has phone contacts, Google Contacts, Google Phone, Messages, which is an older Messages application, and it has a web browser, which is their own web browser built in, which, if I'm not mistaken, is browser. It's their own browser. And then it has the SIM toolkit. It has a settings application, which is an older look to the settings. As you can see, it's taking its time. And it has downloads, backup, and restore. Came with YouTube and WhatsApp, and then the Play Store. Now, its interface is pretty simple. It does not show any notifications up top until you slide down, and then there's this. If we go into device info, we can see how much this listing was a lie.
So this thing claims to have 8 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of space, a MediaTek 6595 10-core processor, Android 9.1, has a 6-inch 1080p display according to what it says right over here. It's supposed to have a 13 megapixel front camera and an 18 megapixel rear camera. It also claims to have all these different light sensors. It claims to have a 1080p display right here, which is false. It's claimed to have a 4000 mAh battery, and it claims to have zero photosensitive face recognition software, where there's only a front camera here. That's it. There's no facial recognition. Also, it makes you think that there are 3 cameras here, whereas 2 of these are fake and 1 of them is real. It has 2 SIM card slots and a flash and an SD card slot. I didn't try that, and it comes in 3 different colors. It has 1 gigabyte, 1.2 gigabyte, 1 gigabyte of RAM, probably. It has 8 gigabytes of internal storage here. If we go to device, it has a MediaTek 6570 processor with Android 6.0. So see right here. Or right here, 6.0 Marshmallow. If I go into settings, it has Android 10, which doesn't make sense, but okay. And it's actually Android 6 Marshmallow. Do settings. It has 10 cores. It's got an NEP screen. But it claims it has 8 gigabytes of memory. It really has 8 bytes of memory. It wouldn't be almost half full. It wouldn't be that full. It has 512 gigabytes of storage according to it. Over here, 3.5.2017 security patch, which it wouldn't be able to do if it was running Marshmallow or Android 10. It has Mali 400 GPU. Low-end GPU ARM that is 1000 mAh battery instead of the 4000. It has a 480p screen, which is shown by YouTube over here. 240p DPI. I can see that much. It has a physical size. I don't really believe that one. Definitely has a 6.1-inch display. It's definitely not 10. It definitely is 480 because of the YouTube. 60 hertz refresh rate, of course. Memory is 1 gigabyte, and then it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Here's where it got even worse, though. The camera claims it was 18 gigabytes and then 13 front, whereas it's a 5 megapixel back and a 2 megapixel front. It's just horrible. And then here's everything it has that it can do. It doesn't have Camera 2 API, which is needed for
external sensors. There's not much to it, so you can't use third-party cameras correctly. Now, for all the sensors, if you go here, it has everything is there. It has a 2-finger multi-touch, which is, it's only 2 fingers for the multi-touch, which doesn't really make sense, but okay. It's only 2 fingers detected, 2 touch. It has a flashlight, loudspeaker, earpiece, microphone. Everything's here except for the light sensor. It does not have ambient light, so you cannot do auto brightness. You have to do manual. Everything else is there, so that shows up there. It claimed it was sort of rootable. When I ran the root checker, it wasn't. Now I'm pressing speed test app like 3 times here and just not opening. The first time I opened it up though, it would crash. It was just horrible. It was horrible. So if I go back here, look, I didn't even do anything. I literally just pressed the multi-touch task button and it closed. Now it'll take a minute to load back up, and then it'll open up, and then once it opens up, it'll have to reload the whole app over again. Like, that does not make sense. Like, why does it have to load the whole app over again? I don't understand it, but whatever. Now when we go here, let's go to results, because I ran a speed test just before. It has, for download, 14.2 megabits per second, and it has upload in 2.51 megabits per second. Now, none of this is true, because I should be getting 100 megabits per second download, and then the upload should be 25 megabits per second. So, yeah, nothing is true, correct. It's just like so slow, it's horrible. This phone is a complete lie, because if you look at the back, it's supposed to have 3 cameras, whereas it only has 1. Take a look at that. You can notice that the top one is concave, while the other 2 just look like dots. If you cover them up, it doesn't do anything. If you take the back off the phone, you'll see that only the 1 camera remains. The 2 cameras on the bottom are the false ones. They're just dots. And this one is the real camera there, as you can see. So if you take a closer look, you'll be able to notice this for yourself, and you'll be able to tell later on for different phones which ones have real cameras and which ones have false cameras. In the box, the headphones in the box were horrible. It's a wish, but like at the same time, they're just bad. Do not. So it's not much more we can do about this phone. This thing is going to be destroyed some other way soon. So stay tuned for that video. If you did like this video, please share, comment, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and enjoy the rest of your day.